you, again, make the same decisions that you made the first time, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, again, you wouldn't have the duplicate to rescan, but you could grab, if you're doing your pre-sort based on precinct or ballot style or
Yeah.
whatever it is, you could grab those batches and rescan them, and the scanner's gonna find those same issues, but you would have the other, because basically you're doing that in a new task. You could always go back to the original task to verify, how was this resolved the first time? And make sure that, this is what we did the first time, we're gonna follow the same procedure, or, if it's a recount, maybe you go,
Well, I'm
we
hoping
actually did that
yeah,
incorrectly.
Yes,
or-
I'm hoping that we would actually move down that path where
Right.
we are actually having a different set of eyes on it, but then have the ability to kind of discrepancy to go back and explain why. based
Yeah,
on-
you'd absolutely be able to go back to that same batch, and so if the recount came down to, precinct 5, you would know that precinct 5 might be, batches 10, 14, 97, I don't know, making up numbers, and then you would be able to go back to your original task and look at those batches. You could even just filter down to those batches or filter to that precinct and be able to see how it was resolved the first pass through and validate it the second time through or make any corrections as needed.
Could you just filter to that race?
You could, yes.
So I'm sorry that, I know that this seems something that you guys have done over, it is just like mind blown here that we would ever think of doing something like this, I guess.
Yeah.
In reality, in your
So-
scenario there,
Yeah.
it is a true recount.
Yeah, I
Because it
agree.
is actually
I absolutely agree.
the voter's ballot, not your interpretation of their ballot, which we know is probably right.
I agree.
Right, we all know,
Yeah.
it's gonna be right, but to the public, to the perception, how do we know you remade that ballot correctly?
Yeah.
And in your rescan, they're probably going, are you telling me there was no voter intent issues in all of your absentees that you were just rescanned? And that can be caused a lot, but obviously it hasn't happened to you yet, so you're not too concerned about that, but.
They asked, we put a code on the top of the ballot, so if they've got green, we use green pen, and we write a code on the top of it to show that.
Okay.
That was a remade ballot, so it does alert the voter to say, hey, this was, and then if they want to see the original, we offer that option.
Okay.
So they do, it does show up, but it's just not
Right,
as easy as this.
right, I see what you're saying.
And one of the other things we haven't mentioned is you can network these stations together in a closed network. Remember I said nothing ever touches an outside network, but just through a closed loop network, you can have multiple scanners and multiple stations. And you can have permission levels for different people. So you might have some people in your office that their permission level is just to log in and scan ballots. And then any computer that's connected in that work group will be able to see the batches scanned on any PC. So it's not just like a one-to-one scenario. So you could have some workers that are just scanning ballots, and then in these other stations, that's where resolution is taking place with two sets of eyes, and, according to your procedures.
You have to resolve everything before you write it to the V drive, right?
Yes, one thing that we do have the option to do though, and this would be interesting to talk to Hamilton about because this is a big new feature for them. In our old system, you had to resolve everything, including write-ins. Now we can say, you've got 19 days, as you said, so maybe in days 1 through 18, you're gonna resolve as many write-ins as you can. But on election day, you don't have the time to go through all those write-ins and you need to get the results over. So we can do what's called deferring write-ins, and you just defer that write-in image to count, where you can do the same process there. But at least it's not holding back all your results that way. So, but yes, everything outside of write-ins needs to be resolved. And that was a big, ask and a big want for all of our customers to say, we've got this huge write-in bottleneck that we have to get all the write-ins done before we can get results. And that's no longer the case with this system going forward.
So piggybacking off of the recount comment, so right now, we scan everything for the unofficial canvas, and then for the official canvas, we're allowed to, like, in our case, upload the memory sticks that contain all of the absentee votes.
Okay.
How does exactly that work with your system, since there's no memory sticks or anything like that?
But there is memory sticks, yeah. So when
That-
the drive, when you write all of the results to the V drive,
Okay.
they're coming into our tabulation software just like results that are coming in from the polling location. So if you wanted to do, another canvas or another tabulation, we can create multiple tasks within our software. So you can say this was our, election night tabulation, unofficial results, and then create a new task for official canvas and reread all of the V drives and tabulate them again. They're going to be identical, but
And the adjudication or resolved adjudication stuff would still like kind of be saved on that?
Yeah, because once it leaves this software, remember, this is not a tabulation, it does not tabulate anything. So when that V drive leaves here, it's just cast vote records ready to be put into the tabulation software for tabulation. So I can, when I'm reading them in my election night unofficial task and then my Canvas task, it's the same contents, it's gonna be reread. I hope I'm answering your question.
Yeah, no, you did. And then back to the networking, so you can have pretty much any amount of workstations / any amount of scanners?
So
Or
we've
there-
tested to 4 in a work group, and then you can have as many of those work group pods as you need. That's not like a hard and fast technical limit. We just know at some point you can't put unlimited devices on the network. It's going to fall over at some point. But we've tested to work groups of 4.
And so that's for like workstations, I guess?
4 workstations and scanners. Yes.
You're thinking of the tabulation system different than, like, what he's saying is that you need a laptop to do all your adjudication.
Yeah.
He's saying 1 laptop for 4 scanners.
So
correct?
one
What you
laptop per
read.
first,
No. The scanner and the workstation are one pair, and you can have 4 of those pairs networked together. So you've got 4 stations, and that helps you because if you have multiple scanners right now, well, I mean, I don't know that you have unique identifiers right now, but you could feasibly take a batch of ballots and put them through one 850, and then if you have another 850, or you could even go back through the same 850. If something got lost in the shuffle, you would find it because your numbers wouldn't balance at some point, I assume. But this system, whether you put the same batch back through the same scanner or the scanner, 2 down over there, it's going to catch it because they're networked, and it's going to say, I've already scanned those unique identifiers into the database. So it just eliminates the potential for scanning a ballot multiple times because of an error. Something was supposed to leave the room and it didn't. The batch report was supposed to get, appended to it, but somebody got distracted and looked away. All of those things that we know can happen.
So when you have to have more than 4 scanners, which is, how does that work when you are doing the same apps realistically? So you're
No,
saying
if-
only 4 can go on the network, and let's say, like, for capacity issues, that's not enough to get us through the 19 days.
Yeah. We could look at it, like I said, we would want to just test it because it's not like a hard and fast tech. It's not going to fall over if you do 5.
Right.
Depending on how many you need, we could test it and test the bandwidth. We've currently tested to 4.
Do you know or how quickly that will scan? Like, what do you, I guess, what's your monthly?
130 pages per minute on this scanner. We did have a model that did 180 pages per minute. It kind of got to the point where the cost of that was so much larger versus the benefit of it. So this is a really good kind of in between, 130 pages per minute. But again, it's not outstacking, it's not stopping,
Right.
and there's no duplication. So in the initial race, we kind of lose, but in the overall, we get to the finish line quicker because of that. Just for some scale, when we do the entire state of Hawaii, they can't open their ballots at all until Election Day. And in City and County of Honolulu, we've done 137,000 in 12 hours across 5 scanners. So that just kind of gives you some numbers to look from. But you're going to have 19 days of being able to spread out that scanning.
We actually have now that House Bill 41's passed, we can actually, I think, scan the whole time, all 28 days.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. And the great thing about, again, this not being a tabulator is you can rest on the fact that even though we're 28 days out of the election, there is just absolutely no way that I can get results from the system. There's not like an administrator password or something that I can say I can get results. I just cannot do it. I have to go to the count software, and the count software can be set to not tabulate until, specific time on election day.
so for this like I'm sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this work group model or whatever. So there's like a dedicated, like let's say laptop for that scanner, and everything from that scanner needs to be adjudicated on that laptop?
No.
Or are they all?
So by the way,
like,
first
at
of all,
that
we don't do laptops. So they
Okay.
are, remember the
Workstation.
RAID, the dual hard drive
Okay.
workstations are robust workstations. But yes, the idea of like this workstation is physically connected to this scanner. And when I scan the ballots, I'm going to see the numbers and commit them to the database on that workstation. But once I save it, the batch is available on any workstation for resolution. So a batch that was scanned here can be resolved down there and vice versa.
But you only recommend tying 4 together in a group right now.
Currently right now, yes.
The bigger counties, what do? Do they have like a group of 4 and then a separate group of 4?
Yeah, they just
You just
kinda-
can't identify, the unique identifier then won't show up in this, you could theoretically.
In that
scan them
scenario,
out.
that's kind of like what you have right now, where you could theoretically take it from one to the other and scan it. But we do have a kind of a back-end unique identifier check, so they're going to collide
When it
down
means
the
at the
path.
final
Yeah, they're going to collide.
stage.
Yep.
So just to give you a little more context, Hamilton County has Ballot Now, which is our precursor to this, but it's set up in the exact same way. Scanning, software solution, and they bought, over time, they have 6 scanning stations. They have only used 3 in an election. So they thought they needed a lot more than they did. Now, also within that time, the law changed where they're 19 days out, right? So that's helped a great deal. But they've counted as much as 60,000 absentees. And I know you guys are probably closer to 100, I think, for a presidential. Be close to 120. So,
Even higher.
they have not really had a bog. It's never been the scanning that's bogged Hamilton County down. It's always been the write-ins and resolving write-ins. But they've always been able to get their stuff scanned through, right? So, go ahead, Jim.
Are there any other questions? That's kind of